All right. Let me set this stuff up. The music's a little loud, huh? All right, here we are. We are live. It's me, PokemonRadar, episode 6 of Meet the Collector series. I'm doing my own little solo podcast today. How do I? Boom. We're back. We're back in business. It's been a while. I've been home in my hometown for the past 2 weeks doing who knows what. Hanging out with the family, hanging out with the friends, doing all types of stuff. Let's get to my Instagram here. I definitely was not ready for this. But hey, we are live. And we're going to talk a little bit about myself. We're going to talk a little bit about what my plans are for 2020 and kind of, see where it takes us. So just to begin, I got my Instagram page pulled up here where I want to scroll all the way down to the bottom so we can get to the beginning. But, I've shared a lot of my stories, a few of my stories, I guess, little blips here and there of how I got my start with Pokemon, through the conversations I've had with some of these great collectors. It's been a phenomenal time. I've had a lot of fun doing this podcast. I've been getting a lot of great feedback from the community, and people seem to be happy with what we're talking and discussing about. So, I've got a few great guests that I have in the works as well outside of myself. I didn't really do the preparation like I should have for this week, but here we are. So, PokemonRadar. Where did I get my start, man? Let's see. I, like everyone else, started back in 1999 with the base set. I got two older brothers who kind of just followed what my oldest brother did with Pokemon, or with everything. I mean, he started off playing sports, and we played some sports, and then he turned into a nerd, and we all turned into nerds. He was playing World of Warcraft. He was playing Warcraft 3, Frozen Throne was one of my things. I love doing that. And then, of course, he started to get into card games like Pokemon, which, of course, got a start with Pokemon Red and Blue. So, I did that. I played the game with our own little rules. I don't think we ever played right. But, we played with energy. We played it with all the damage counters. We played with whatever to get things going. But we didn't understand the strategy. We didn't understand how the whole game really worked. We were just there having fun, playing the cards we liked, playing the cards that did a lot of damage, like Charizard, Blastoise, and Chansey. And Zapdos was my favorite card back in the day. I had a base set Zapdos that would just beat the hell. And I just played with it because I loved it. I loved the hell out of it. But I want to talk a little bit more about collecting and, some of the awesome stories and pickups that I've gotten throughout my time. And, in what brought me back to Pokemon was, a number of things. The number one major factor was an illness. I got extremely sick at the end of college, 2015. And that progressed like very fast up to 2017, where I had about 9 months of bed rest due to 2 surgeries. And so I had a lot of free time. I was laying in bed, a lot of things going through my head. And the one thing that caught my eye was YouTube videos of Pokemon pack openings, which I just filled my time up with like crazy, watching Gem Mint, watching Prime Time, watching TCA, watching so many other guys that may or may not still be in the hobby. And that led to the love of, or the nostalgia of opening packs and wanting to find packs to open. So that's really what brought me back into it. And of course, evolutions was a big thing that was just really good timing with Pokemon Go. It was really good timing with when I started to look back into Pokemon because it was a base set reprint and it was just perfect. It was perfect timing for a lot of us. So I know that's the same story for many people of a perfect storm of Pokemon Go evolutions and um, discovering or going through some sort of life change that made them go back to their childhood and discover Pokemon again. I remember the very first thing I ever bought, which in college I sold a lot of vintage clothes and other random items on eBay for a long time, and I did pretty well with it, going to state sales, going to garage sales, buying anything and everything and flipping it. Um, and I remember once Evolutions came out, I got that and I started looking instantly for some vintage product. And I was in California at the time, and I searched on Craigslist. Actually, it's not even on here. It's on my personal because I did this before Pokemon Radar even started. I found on Craigslist. This was my very first find of all time, and this is what led to realizing that relationships are a very powerful thing, even how small this may have been. I found a guy selling a Team Rocket booster box, an unlimited Team Rocket booster box, for $700 on Craigslist. And I reached out to him and began discussing over email, negotiating with him, thinking that buying Pokemon cards for $700 is just absolutely ridiculous. I had I was only in it for the money. I was trying to pay for medical bills and pay for my apartment and stuff like that while I was sick. So I was just negotiating with this guy like crazy, like I do. I'm in sales, so I like to do that. But I worked him down to $350, half the price of what he was asking. And he said, "I'll do 350, but you have to buy both of my boxes." So I said, "All right, let's meet up." We met up at a Starbucks. He pulls out the first Team Rocket box, okay condition. Then he pulls out the second one, and I look at the corner, the bottom right corner of the box, and it has the first edition stamp. And I just inside I was freaking out, but I was keeping real calm outside because obviously he didn't know what it was. He didn't see on the Team Rocket box. It's very hard to see that first edition symbol because it's black on black. So I gave him the money. I took off. Got two Team Rocket booster boxes, unlimited and first edition, for $700 total, and it was just phenomenal. But of course, at that time I was in complete flipper mode, and I sold the unlimited for $550, and I sold the first edition for $1,100 pretty quickly afterwards, which of course is ridiculous today. But this was 3-4 years ago, so that's the thing that got me hooked with Pokemon, was and seeing the opportunity of making money, because it was still at a time where people had things that didn't know what they had. It was the very tail end of that. And this guy actually had Japanese stuff, Japanese packs, base set, and then some first edition jungle packs, which I bought from him later on. And that was a big thing because it made me find and see the Japanese market as well before a lot of people did. So um, that was the first thing that kicked off my buying and selling habits for Pokemon, and really got me hooked. Um, Luckily, after that, well, not luckily, but I moved back home for my surgeries and whatnot. And when I had all this free time, I decided to go to my local card shops that I shopped at as a kid, which were thankfully still around. I think one of them was at a different address, but same owner, same guy. I remember him. I have a really good relationship with him today. Um, but he's the one that pretty much stocked me up with all the stuff that you'll see here. Uh, uh, I had my very first box I ever bought was a fossil box. I actually opened this up and opened all the heavy packs on YouTube. I think there's a full video. I also have a few um, videos on here as well. I bought a first edition base set pack. At the time, these things were going for 800, 700, 800 bucks, and I worked the guy down to 400. I weighed it and convinced myself that this thing was heavy, and I couldn't sleep for for 2 weeks.
Oh, fuck, I want
Like I just had it sitting there. I swear it was talking to me in my sleep. Like you got to open this thing. It's heavy. There's a hollow.
Sure.
And
Credit card.
obviously,
Maybe.
after we watch this, you'll see that
Man, get out of here.
it wasn't a hollow. But I got a PSA 10 Squirtle out of that. I got a PSA 9 Pokemon Breeder,
No
PSA
way.
10 Water Energy,
No
which
way.
actually I have some of those cards with me right now. Here it
Damn.
is. Here's the Water Energy. I was going through some of my stuff. But, man, all right. So this first guy that I met with, Dave, who still has things that I want to buy and he won't sell them to me. When I was first doing this, I was really uncertain about Pokemon and the market and the money that was involved with it because it was a lot of money buying. I paid $700 for this Neo Genesis Unlimited box at the time, and this is a lot of money to be dealing with fresh out of college. Um, but thankfully, I had a really close relationship with a fella named Gem Mint Pokemon, and he was extremely nice to me. Would answer my questions, would message me back. He just loved Pokemon. I loved talking about it. So I had him just in my back pocket constantly when I was about to buy stuff because I was flipping things to him before I even bought it, and that's what helped me build the money that I had to purchase a lot of things. So um, I used Gem Mint Pokemon I was just flipping stuff to him, and I was giving him great deals too. By the way, I sold him. I bought this for 700, sold to him for 900, and it was going for like 1200 at the time. So I was giving him great deals. He was getting a lot of stuff for me. I was selling him the Shadowless cards. I was selling him all types of stuff. Um, and it was just a good time. It was a good way to learn and understand. I was buying a lot of things, so I was handling a lot of packs, a lot of boxes, a lot of single cards, and I was learning every little thing that I could about the cards, about the packs, to make sure they were legit, make sure they were, um, I was understanding the conditions, understanding the different variations of things. I was asking him a ton of questions, and it was just phenomenal. So that was a really good setup to have, especially when you're starting off. Is a good way to build your knowledge and build your collection. Is have some buyers in your circle, have some buyers in your relationship, uh, have a good relationship with big buyers so that you can sell things and build a reputation with them. Because that's a big thing that really got me going was this relationship with Gem Mint Pokemon allowed me to start working with some of the other bigger names in the hobby because he was vouching for me and doing all that. And I'm a relationship builder, and that's what I've done to build my brand, build the I guess the PokemonRadar community. Um, let's see. Going through this as well, another thing that I discovered and liked a lot, which is probably an influence of Gem Mint Pokemon, is no symbol jungle hollows. I found a guy on eBay with jungle packs that were undervalued, and I bought a couple of them, opened them, and pulled no symbol hollows, which I knew were rare, knew they were more valuable than regular unlimited packs, and these packs were already underpriced. So I went back right away to buy the rest of them, but somebody caught on as well and bought like half of them. This guy had 200 or so packs. So I ended up buying, I think, like 75, and I opened all of them. Not only to just get the no symbol hollows, but to finish a binder set of jungle cards, which was one of my main goals when I first entered the hobby, which is extremely stupid looking back at it, was I wanted to recollect the sets, base set through the gym series. So I was just opening up packs to get every single card to put in a binder to say that I self pulled these, which that's where my attachment is with cards, is cards that I open up myself. And that's what I collect. That's what I hold on to. That's what I'll have forever. I'll sell these PSA cards. I'll sell these things that I bought off of someone else, and um, which is great. But it was so stupid. I wasted so much money opening up packs and trying to be cool about that or something. I don't know what my intentions were, but I still enjoy opening packs. I think it's the main reason to be in the hobby. It's the main um, nostalgia factor of Pokemon is opening packs. That's what we all remember as kids, at least in my mind. And That's where all the fun lies. So opening packs and boxes is always going to be a vice for me, but I've definitely been able to control myself lately because I've opened up so much in the past. Um, but yeah, this guy Dave, I got. Let's just go through it real quick. I got a base set box. I got a case of unlimited Gym Challenge, which had the corrected Blanche Charizard in it. We found that out this year when I opened one up live. I bought a full first edition base set from him. There was 6 and 7, 5 condition. I bought Neo Genesis box. I bought unlimited. I bought Shadowless sets. I bought first edition sets. I bought just everything from this guy. Legendary collection box, case of Jungle, which I opened and recently sold this year. There's so much from this guy. He was the one that he was my gold mine that I used to build my collection. It was just phenomenal. I still have him. I still talk with him, and he still has a base set box. He has a legendary collection box. He has, I think, a Gym Challenge box. And he has a beautiful first edition base set, like a full binder set, um, which is great. And I want to get it, but he won't sell it to me. One of the early things that was like a staple of PokemonRadar when I started was Japanese packs. I found a guy on eBay. This was one of the things I did back in the day, 2 or 3, 4 years ago. I would find people on eBay selling things that had more than one quantity, and I would email them saying, "Oh, how much do you have? I want to buy everything." And I was doing this with everybody. Uh, and I found a guy with Japanese packs. He had listed 10 fossil, he had listed 10 jungle, 10 base set, and 10 of each gym set. And he's like, "Yeah, I've got about 1,000, 2,000 packs." And I was like, I'll take them all except the base set packs, which was the dumbest thing I ever could have done. But I paid $7 or $8 a pack for every thing you see here, except for these. I paid 10. He was asking 15, and I thought that was too high. I could have had 100 base set packs at $15 a pack, and I didn't buy them. And at the time, they were selling for $20, so I was already making money. It was stupid. So I bought about 800 packs, and I was just flipping them constantly for like a year. And that's what people knew me as. That's where I went to. I went to Worlds in 2017 in Anaheim with like 200 Japanese packs and sold them all. It it got a little ridiculous. Like this was half of it. It's just incredible. Oh, I also got 2 sealed base set Japanese boxes from Dave. Good guy, Dave. But man, what's another gold mine story? Um, one of the greatest trades I ever made. This one I love to talk about. I had this was right when Evolutions came out. I speculated on the staff pre-release Charizard. I bought about 5 or 6 of them for between 50 and like $150. And I had this guy reach out to me on eBay, I had a full master set of Evolutions, including the staff promos, the pre-release promos, some of the other Oceanic Championship promos. And I was able to convince this guy that the staff promo Charizard was going to be the next first edition base set Charizard. And I ended up trading a master set of Evolutions with an extra staff pre-release Charizard for $1,000, a PSA 8 first edition base set Charizard, and a raw first edition base set Charizard. So at the time, it was like $3,000 value for an Evolution set. And today, it's unbelievable. Evolutions hasn't moved at all. Staff Charizard hasn't moved at all. And I got a sweet deal off of that one. So that was just absolutely incredible. Here's me in Anaheim in 2017 with Thorgene, Charlie. Here's Gem at Pokemon, his face, and SM Pratt. This is the first time I got to meet a lot of the guys in E4, which was great. It was a real good time. Best Head was there. Sup Base. But yeah, I just got really lucky early on with making connections and finding people that didn't have anyone to sell to. I was able to create relationships with people that had lots of stuff, but they didn't have a Pokemon audience to sell to. And that's where I made my killing. That's where I was able to grow my collection, uh, which was phenomenal. And, it took a solid year of flipping and grinding of finding people to buy stuff from. So the bulk of my collection really came in really early on, and I just decided to sit on it instead of sell it. Uh, Here's some Skyrich packs, but I that's something that hit me really hard this year in 2019. I I was so set on investing in Pokemon, collecting Pokemon, and it was very difficult, to live in California, have a decent job, but spend way more money than I'm supposed to on Pokemon cards, on a hobby, on a collectible. Uh, and I finally realized that I was stocking up too much on Pokemon and I hadn't sold anything. Uh, this hit me really hard, just mentally, when I had the opportunity to purchase a case of first edition Gym Challenge and a case of base set right here. So 2019 had the biggest. I made the biggest deal I ever did in Pokemon. It was over the course of 2 weekends. It was a $40,000 cash deal. Weekend number one, I went in and I bought a Case Fresh Green Wing base set box, and I bought two other base set boxes for roughly like $8,000 or $9,000. And then the following weekend was this. Another, I finished off the case of base set, and then I had the case of Gym Challenge. So I found a guy in California who, this story is crazy. So this guy in California, a year ago to like the date that I met him, a random guy walked into his store who was getting a haircut across the street. He walks into the store and says, "Hey, do you buy or sell Pokemon cards?" And the store owner, who I'm really good friends with now, because I spent 40 grand on them, he said, "Yeah, we do sports, but we do a little bit of the other stuff as well." And he pulls out 20 cases of Pokemon. He had base set 2, base set, first edition Gym Challenge, and I believe a Jungle and Fossil. But most of it was base set and Gym Challenge first edition. They paid this guy $50,000, $500 per box a year ago for 120 boxes of Pokemon. Now, if I knew this guy a year ago, I would have owned all of this because I would have taken out a loan. I would have done something to buy every little bit of it. But of course, times changed within that year, and these boxes were going for $3,000-$4,000 at the time. But I had the opportunity to buy these, but I didn't have the cash. So this is where holding up all that cash, all that money into things that I collected over time really hurt me. But I understood that I could take advantage of the opportunity in another way. So just talking like numbers and social media stuff, this was 20 weeks ago. This was like August. This was right before, maybe a month before Worlds 2019 in Washington, D.C. I had maybe 700-800 followers on Instagram. People kind of knew who I was, but I was under the radar a little bit still. But I had the opportunity to build and create a serious relationship with a business, with a guy that had a lot of Pokemon product, but I didn't have the money. So what I did was I pooled in some of the biggest names from Pokemon, I talked to Pokemon Revolution Cards about this. Gem at Pokemon, Cool Trainer Ryan, and a couple others. And I talked with them over the phone, let them know that I had this incredible opportunity to get some boxes. $2,600 for Gym Challenge and $3,000 for base set. And they were all case fresh. They were all beautiful. And I hadn't really worked with these guys in the past. We'd done a couple things, but nothing big. So I told these guys, look, I need some money. I'll get you guys these boxes at cost. And I'll be able to build a relationship with this guy. We'll be able to get more from him. You'll get some amazing products for real cheap. And it'll be a win-win situation for everybody. Everyone was a little weirded out because, it was like, what's in it for you? And I was like, look, I just want to build this relationship with them, with you guys. And I want to get this thing done because he'll see how serious of a buyer I am. I wish I could do it myself, but I can't. And these guys trusted me, sent me over a ton of cash. And I went and did this deal. Unfortunately, in my mind, I was thinking base set was a better investment, so that's what I bought for myself. I think I bought 3 of those boxes for myself, and I bought 1 gym challenge for me, and the rest went to everyone else. So I met up with them at Worlds, handed them their stuff, deal went down, and that's when I kind of blew up a little bit. I did really well. I got almost 2,000 followers now. It's been that one deal kind of set me up to become a bigger name in the hobby, and I'm really glad I did it. I definitely missed out on a lot of money if I bought it for myself and sold it, but the relationships that I built off of it are much more valuable than the money that I could have made off of these things. I always look back at it and say, oh, I could have made 10 grand, 15 grand if I bought it for myself, but I didn't have the money, and I was going to lose the opportunity if I didn't. So that's what I did. I made it happen. I brought the right people together. I built relationships, and that's what's gotten me to the next level, the next step in this hobby, to allow me to become a serious investor, a serious collector, and a person that people reach out to, which has been really great. So looking forward to 2020, I have a few things on my mind about how I'm going to do business, what I'm going to do, what my goals are, and how I'm going to achieve my first and initial goal when entering the hobby. So the first thing is I'm going to start selling a lot more in the beginning of the year here. I know prices usually tick up around summertime, and yeah, I should probably wait. But coming around March, April, I am going to be selling the majority of my collection so that I can be cash ready, cash available for any other great opportunity that I can take advantage of. There's been a number of opportunities that I missed out in the past because I didn't have the money ready for it. And that's probably the biggest thing from an investor standpoint, a collector standpoint, is cash is king. It's all about opportunity. That's how the rich get rich, is they have the money ready for the opportunity. If Steve Jobs walked up to you and back in 19 whatever and 70 whatever and said, "Hey, I need $5,000 to start Apple," whoever's ready and has cash available for that became a billionaire. This is something that is true in all aspects of any market, any collectible, any hobby, any business. Is you need to be readily available for when that opportunity is presented to you. So that's something that I'm really going to focus on this year, is always be ready, always have cash on hand to make sure I can do things and get things done. I've got a lot of great product. I've held on to it for a number of years. Yeah, it's still short-term investment from the traditional eye, but I've done really well on the stuff, so I'm just going to start selling some things and get ready for the next opportunity. I've started to take up PSA a lot more seriously, which again, I'm probably a little late on that with how PSA is treating people on their cards and their grading. They're all over the place, extremely difficult, really random. to some extent with their grades, but there's still a lot of opportunity there to grade near mint cards and make a profit on them. So that's one thing that I hit pretty heavily on at the end of the year. Good old Dave had a ton of mint ungraded cards that I bought from him, and they're on their way to PSA now. I actually have another submission I have to do, which is really interesting. But so that's one big thing I'm going to start doing is focusing on having cash available, and then now PSA cards, which are not only going to involve set cards, but I'm looking heavily into Japanese promos. I'm looking into signed cards. I'm looking into trophy cards. Another thing that I look back on the past that I advise anyone and everyone to do: sign up to be a Patreon with SM Pratt and follow what he's doing. I remember I followed Scott on Patreon or sub to Patreon for the videos as soon as he started it. And one thing that I'll always look back at is how clear he was about signed cards and how popular they were going to get, as well as exclusive Japanese cards. There was an opportunity to buy from Scott at really great prices. There was a Grand Party PSA 10 I think he had for like $250, and I missed out on that. I missed out on buying a lot of these exclusive Japanese cards. There was some great signatures, some great signed cards out on the market that were available then that I just thought he was crazy, but he knows what he's doing. He obviously knows what he's doing. He does have a little bit of impact on the market, I think, with certain things. People trust him. People, know obviously, want to follow him. So what he does, what he says, people are going to do. People are going to follow. And I think it's a 100% worth the investment of $10 a month to get the videos from him and take into account what he's collecting, what he's buying, and start doing it. Because I could have made so much money buying the cards that he was buying, even just from him that he had available on his eBay. So that's one thing I'm going to be really conscious of this year is following the trends, following not so much the mass trends, but the high-end community trends, the Scott Pratt trends. Because, again, he's been right on a lot of things. Sure, he's been wrong, but I think he's won more than he's lost so far. So that's one thing I'm going to look out for, and I think everyone else should. I also chatted with him recently about certain things, and there's a lot going on in the hobby, so it's going to be alive and well for quite some time. And I think we talked about one specific topic that could bring a next, Pokemon Go type boom in the market. I don't know when that would be, but it's set up to happen. You have to get the right people in there at the right time to make it happen. And I have that vision to see how that all come to fruition, and I'm hoping that we can all benefit from it. It's going to be a really important thing for Pokemon to become an established and mainstream hobby or collectible, I guess. So another goal of mine this year is going to be to obtain some trophy cards, whether it's a Japanese trophy-esque type card or one from London in 2020. I'm fully ready and capable to go to London for the World Championship Pokemon tournament. I don't know if I'll be financially prepared for a trophy card, seeing the ridiculous prices that people are offering and whatnot. But I think the opportunity to get a trophy card is going to be much higher in London. There's going to be less people attending most of the trophy card collectors are, I think, U.S. based on what I know, and it's just going to be a tougher venue for a lot of us to attend. So if I could take advantage of that, get a trophy card or two out of London, I think there's going to be a great opportunity there, to not only make money but to get a really awesome card. And that's another thing that I'm trying to talk to about with some veterans in that specific genre of cards. The trophy card market is still very niche, but that's where the money's at, and that's where uh, people are going to start going to. It's There's a lot of room to grow for that. There's a lot of room for some big pockets to get into that little niche market of Pokemon, and I want to be a part of it. I want to take advantage of it. I want to be there for it. So keep an eye out for that. I think that'll be an exciting time, seeing the trophy market take another big step. I know eBay hasn't even seen a one of the winner trophy cards in over a year, I believe. So just throwing one up on eBay at auction would be quite entertaining, and I kind of want to do that. But we'll see. We'll see. Um, so yeah, just a few things that I'm looking forward to. Uh, I think one big thing again was I got pretty cocky this past year on what I was collecting and how certain I was of how well sealed product would do and all that, and which is great. It did phenomenal. I definitely did well on the sealed product I bought, but I had tunnel vision and I missed out on so many other opportunities to um, make money, to buy some other amazing product, and that was something that I realized that I really need to start doing is uh, taking advantage of every possible opportunity instead of the ones that I think are right. There's a lot more out there than just what's up in here, and building these relationships that I have with these other collectors now has been really great because I've been able to see through their eyes, see their perspective on Pokemon and certain aspects, sealed product, packs, boxes, individual cards, PSA, BGS, whatever it may be, and it's really opened up my eyes to understand more of the market and take a deeper look at the opportunities. Um, I definitely see that I'm a little bit late to the party on certain things, but everyone starts somewhere, and I've gotten a lot of help from people. Swolepoke, he's helped me a lot with understanding how to buy from Japan, what to look for from sellers on Bai, Mercari, um, and just looking at that opportunity to still buy from there and sell in the U.S. At the profit. That's still an available thing to us, is buying mint cards from Japan and get them graded here to resell. It's slowly, or it's actually quickly dwindling that opportunity. It's well known now. The apps to use to buy from Japan are much more accessible, so anyone can do it. Everyone can do it. But you just got to be. It's kind of like how eBay was in 2016. It was a little bit more open to finding really good deals and finding little gems. But that's quickly going away with the competition that's able to access Yahoo Japan and Bai and Mercari. So, hop on that now. Try to get things going. Try to understand how that all works and what sellers do specifically on those websites over in Japan to know what you're buying, know what to look for. That's one thing that I've definitely honed my skill in on with eBay is understanding certain people on eBay and their style of listing, understanding who they are and if what chances I can take to potentially win. Like PokeRev's last Green Wing box he bought, he talked about that. He understood how the listing was set up, looking at the history of the seller and seeing that opportunity that this box could be shadowless, and he ended up getting a Greenwing box with shadowless style packs inside. They weren't the 100% guaranteed ones, but there's a good possibility there for him. So that's something that's available to everyone is the Japanese market still, but it's quickly going away, so you need to hop on that fast. What else? Anyone in the chat have any questions? I mean, we can dive a little bit back on the or jump back to the past here, and I know I had one question in my live video today about what was the number one memory, I guess, as back in the childhood of Pokemon. And there's a number that I always jump to, a number of stories that I jump to, that I've told before, but I was thinking this one over, and just looking back at, I don't know if this is particularly a good story now, but so we were at the mall near my house. I was with my two brothers and my parents, and there was a Disney store at this mall at the time, which was selling Pokemon packs. Our parents graciously allowed us to purchase, I think, a single pack. I remember buying a jungle pack. My middle brother James bought a base set pack, and I think my older brother, he may have passed on that. I don't remember what he got, but my brother James pulled a Charizard just out of nowhere. One single pack at the mall from the Disney store, and little whiny me as a kid started complaining that James now has two Charizards. My oldest brother Ryan's got a Charizard, and I don't have a Charizard. And I complained so much that my dad actually forced my brother to trade me one of his Charizards, and I gave him a base set Haunter for a base set Charizard, thinking that was fair, so that we all had Charizards. And that's just a story that me and him talk about a lot, and the number one thing that I always go back to, and remembering, the essence of Pokemon opening packs. And I ended up giving him a Charizard later on, a couple years ago. I know it definitely doesn't mean the same as it did back then, but just to repay for it. And that, having that experience, that story is pretty awful, on my end, about just being a whiny little kid, but it's something that we'll remember forever and always talk about. So, the things that Pokemon has done for me and a lot of other people in this community that I've talked with, is incredible. It's something that we've all are able to connect with a happy time, a good time. I've talked with many other collectors who got back into Pokemon because of some difficulties in their life, going through some roadblocks, some issues, and Pokemon saving them, bringing them back to reality, bringing them back to themselves. And Pokemon's done that for me. It's been great, and I can't be any more thankful to the community, to the friends I've made, to Pokemon in general, what it's done for myself, for a lot of people, and it's really great. And the opportunity to make money off of something that we love doing is just phenomenal. I mean, how fun is it to trade and sell our childhood for thousands and thousands of dollars? It's ridiculous. It's stupid. It's actually stupid, and I enjoy every single moment of it. But yeah, there's so much opportunity out there still with investing in Pokemon. I think a lot of people need to open up their eyes at the clear signals of unavailability of sealed products and the excessive rate that things are being opened. A lot of people complain about the prices of booster packs versus booster boxes versus the uh, realized value from the cards you can pull. And that's one thing that a lot of people should understand that don't. But it's a separate collectible at this point. A sealed box is a separate collectible from a sealed pack. It's a separate collectible from a single card. It's a separate collectible from a graded PSA card. Now, yes, there is some correlation between these guys, but I think it's so minute at this point that we need to just stop complaining about packs, base set packs being $150 or whatever they are, and the only way to make money is to pull a Charizard. Well, stop opening. Don't open the pack. If you want a Charizard, buy a Charizard. If you want a pack, buy a pack. If you want to take the gamble, take the gamble. You can still make money on sealed packs, on sealed product if you get lucky. And that's the opportunity cost with opening something that's not going to be the value that you paid for it. That's something I talked about with PokeRev. Was back in the day you could buy boxes and boxes and boxes and open them, and no matter what, you would make money on them because of the cost, and the market changed. And now we're at a point where these are separate collectibles, and the money it takes to buy a booster box, to buy a booster pack, is completely different than the cards inside it. Although that brings me to the first edition Jungle and first edition Fossil. Paying attention to the market, the PSA market, it is interesting. I've got 2 heavy first edition Fossil packs with me right now, and I've been thinking to myself that these sell for maybe like what, $225 at a reasonable price, but PSA 10 hollows in this set are going for like a couple $1,000s now. And to me, I think that's a little bit, the packs are undervalued. Now it's I'll probably get ridiculed for saying that. But I think first edition Jungle and first edition Fossil are undervalued sealed product. I think it's worth it to open up these packs to potentially get a PSA 10 hollow. I know there's a lot of people who have had bad history with grading Jungle and grading Fossil due to silvering and poor print quality. But I've seen a lot of great cards come out of these packs and have great opportunities to get 10s. It's just, also PSA's being a bummer right now with their grading. I don't understand what the hell's going on over there. But that those 2 sets are something that I think are severely undervalued in comparison to their the seal to the PSA cards, and I think that's an opportunity for people right now to pick up on, unless of course the PSA card market kind of shits the bed and doesn't do quite well. That's the risk of the PSA market. It's like trading stocks. With PSA cards, it's much more, it fluctuates much more than sealed products. Sealed products are the mutual funds and the ETFs of the stock market, and PSA cards are the stocks. So that's just one thing that I also getting more involved and invested in PSA cards is a higher risk but a much higher reward at this point. And honestly, it's a lot more fun speculating certain cards and building positions. That's one thing that doesn't get talked about enough or at all yet in Pokemon, is building positions in specific cards. Rudy with Alpha Investments talks about this constantly, and talks about even with modern product, people building positions in modern product, building positions in vintage product. And most of the stories you hear about, from him about people doing that is they have lost a ton of money, and it's like day trading stocks. You're speculating, at least in Magic, you're speculating on the playability of a card in modern, and you're speculating on a vintage card to retain and carry its value. And with Pokemon, that's something that doesn't get brought up very often. I think Scott's mentioned it a couple times. I know he does it himself. I know a few people that, whether they're doing it intentionally or not, are building positions on specific cards. I think mostly out of love of the card, love of the art. But that's something that we need to start paying attention to, especially with some of the older PSA market. People building positions in grades. There's 120 first edition PSA 10 Charizards. We know where 40 of them are, maybe 50 of them. Who has the other ones? Who's built a position in this? Who could possibly ruin the market for us or for the people that own these PSA 10s? I don't have one, but that's a big thing that I think is going to start to pick up more solely on vintage PSA cards or graded cards, is people building positions in specific grades. For I guess the more general market, looking at no symbol hollows, I think Gem-It Pokemon. I would guess. I have no idea. I would guess he has over 50% of the no symbol PSA 9s and 10s. Is he speculating from an investment standpoint or just from a sole collectible standpoint because he loves those things? I don't know. But people are building positions in certain things that could, blow up over time. So you got to start paying attention to stuff like that, and find opportunities to do so. I don't know. It's really tough now, looking at Trophy Kangaskhan's or Unicarps or Tropical Winds because they're not available. But I know the people that have them and sell them, they just kind of trade hands to the same people until someone kind of has them all. And we know from recent videos that certain people are buying a lot of specific cards and will buy every specific card at a certain price. So it's interesting to see what's going to happen with those trophy cards, those unique low pop cards, when they start to resurface again. Like the new Pikachu card from the Master Collection set. I wish I bought a lot more. I think they're doing phenomenal. I bought, I think, 5 of these. I don't know where they all are. This is 3 of them. I wish I could have bought 50 of them. I bought 5 of these at about $80 a piece. And I saw them being opened by Max Mofo Pokemon on YouTube. And I saw the Pikachu card and I thought, wow, that's a really cool looking card. And understanding what happened with the Team Rocket 20th anniversary set, listening to what other people were saying, was these were going to do well. And buying the Pikachu card from an exclusive Pokemon set was, to me, just common sense. So I picked up 5 of them. I'm going to get them all graded, and hopefully they do well. If not, I have a really cool card, and I already paid under market value for them. They're going up pretty quickly. I think the Pikachu card will be a $250 card in no time, in mint condition. That might be a little over the top, but a little over optimistic. But either way, getting them graded, I'm going to do well on them, and I'm really happy that I bought them. I wish I bought more. But that's another thing I'm going to start paying attention to is exclusive Japanese product, which is something that I just never listened to. It's something that's been preached by a couple people for forever. And a lot of people caught on. A lot of people took advantage of it, and I just didn't. So I hope that opportunity is still there. I think it will be. I really hope that English Pokemon, America, United States, any other region, starts doing exclusive Pokemon promos, exclusive Pokemon product. I mean, you saw the excitement and the difficulty to obtain Hidden Fates when it first came out. Imagine something like that happening with, having a Pokemon and Target exclusive Charizard promo set limited to 20,000. 20,000 is a lot. But with the amount of demand that's out here and the people that want to get this stuff, it would go crazy. And we see how much stronger the English set card market is versus any other language. The prices are much different. Imagine if that happened if we had an English Pikachu illustrator. Would it have the same lore and awe of the Japanese one? I don't know. It's hard to say, but it's it's something that I think we all want. We all need is some exclusive English promo sets. Um, one thing that's coming up soon, which is exciting. I don't know much about it right now, um, but there's a new Pokemon Illustrator contest that's happening, I believe, this year, and I hope to take advantage of this thing. I don't know where it is. I don't know how to find it, but we're not going to find it. Oh well. So there's a back in what 99, and I think there were multiple of these. This is something that I really need to do the research on with the Japanese market. Um, there were multiple, or maybe just one, Pokemon illustration contest where people submitted drawings of Pokemon and they became cards. And those illustration winners received, 100 copies, 200 copies of that card, and they were the only ones to own them. And they're selling for a ridiculous amount of money. So that there's a new illustration contest happening, and I don't know how that's going to turn out in comparison to the first one. But either way, they're going to be extremely collectible, extremely sought after cards. So hopefully it doesn't get out of hand where, they get in the hands of the wrong people. But it's going to be quite interesting to see what the market does with the new illustration winter cards. And I'll definitely be looking at that, hopefully being able to take advantage of it. It'll be a very interesting thing to see. I don't know. I wonder if anybody can enter. I don't know how that all works. So maybe I'll send in my own little drawing. But yeah. So that's just to recap a little bit on
Quite typical from
what
these
my
type of
plans
packs
are for
that they open up
2020.
very
It's
easily.
going to
You
be
can
number
see
one, be cash
have
ready,
the
be cash
first edition
available
stamp
for new and great opportunities within not only the Pokemon market,
side,
but any market
the
that I'm
shadowless
paying
border
attention to.
on the right.
Number two,
We have a
continue
Starmie,
to be a Patreon of S. Pratt and actually
Fighting
listen to his
Energy.
advice instead of pushing it off and
Caterpie,
thinking
good
that
card
sealed
pull.
product is the only way
We
to
have a
go.
Switch Trainer. We have
And
a
then number
Vulpix.
3,
We have a Fire Energy. And our
that's going to be
holographic.
buying and
Oh,
obtaining
after this card, we have Voltorb.
some Japanese
Our holographic
exclusives,
is a
some
Ninetales.
trophy cards, and hopefully
And then we have
a
Magnemite, Pokemon
2020
Blue,
London
Pokemon.
trophy card.
So as you can see,
And then number 4 is going to
First
be
edition holographic.
playing around with the PSA market a little bit more. Both finding and grading raw cards, which I know is very hard to do at this day. But that and purchasing some speculative cards and hopefully making some money on them. One card I did buy was a PSA 10 Burning Tower prize card with the 3 legendary dogs on it. I think it's a beautiful card. I know there was a recent boom on it, but I got one of them for a great deal, and I think it's going to do quite well. So I'm hoping I make 50% or more on it. I think I'm already at a 20% increase, which is great, phenomenal. But I'm going to be looking for more return on that before I let it go, because that thing is gorgeous. But yeah, I mean, that's really all I got to talk about. I mean, I could go on with a whole bunch of more stories of PokemonRadar and the finds that I had in the past and my collection, but I thought it'd be more interesting to talk about what I'm looking forward to in 2020, and um, maybe some investment advice, or I guess it's not really investment advice. It's more just what I'm doing. I don't know if anyone believes what I'm saying, but I'm looking forward to trying out some new things, expanding my knowledge on uh, more unique and high end products, and playing around with the market a little bit, taking a little bit more risk. It's an exciting time. I think everyone that's involved in Pokemon that can stay involved is going to do very well. We have a lot of time left for this hobby to grow and grow and grow. And there's a ton of money that's going to be filtering into the people buying this stuff right now. And with that available capital and increased demand that's gonna happen with this stuff, it's only looking good for Pokemon. The prices are gonna go crazy, and I'm gonna regret everything that I sold, everything that I sell. It's just a part of it. It's a part of life. But I appreciate you all watching. I'm up at like the 1 hour mark here, and I plan on having a special guest next week. I just have to confirm, and I don't want to leak it right now. But we've got a few guys in the books. And again, I'm working on scheduling. We'll have Gem Mint Pokemon. We'll have Lootbox TV. We will have, hopefully, I can't say it because I don't know if it's going to happen or not. But we got DJ Gigabyte. We got PFM, Pokemon Flymaster. We got a lot of people in the works that I'm looking forward to speaking with about Pokemon and their history with it and what they're looking to do. So thank you guys all for tuning in tonight. Hopefully you enjoyed this one. It was a little bit different than the past 5. But I'm loving this podcast. I love doing this thing. I'm having a great time. I'm just enjoying Pokemon, enjoying myself. And I hope you guys all have a phenomenal day. And take care.